Just getting on to do a quick video. Wanted to talk to y'all, I guess talk at y'all, um, about inspiration. Um, don't ever, I guess the main point, talking point that I'm going to go over is don't ever lose your inspiration for what you want to see yourself doing, whether it's playing guitar, you know, a career path that you want to choose, if you want to be an engineer or a doctor, or if you are inspired to do something, um, then do it. Don't let anything stop you from doing it. Work your absolute hardest. Put every ounce of effort that you have in it. Um, Working towards that, when you attain it, you will feel astronomically more gratified than if something was just given to you. Um, for instance, when I was 7 years old, I wanted to be Jimi Hendrix. Now, you're all probably having your own ideas about what that means, but it has nothing to do with being Jimi Hendrix, or like attaining who he was. It was more so that I saw this person who not only could write songs that he felt and that he felt needed to be heard, but he could also play other people's songs. There's a legendary story about how the release night of Sgt. Pepper's by the Beatles, Jimi Hendrix learned Sgt. Pepper's the night before. He was sent a pressed copy of it, learned it the night before, taught the entire band the song, and played it the release date. So that's not just a testament of how good of a songwriter he was, but how easily he could, how well his ear was trained, and he didn't, get like liner notes from any of the Beatles, even though he probably was rubbing shoulders with them at the time. Um, I love you too. That's my daughter talking to me. She's laying in her crib, um, playing with her favorite toy, which is a Raggedy Andy doll, or Raggedy Ann doll type of thing. Anyway, sidetracked. Doing what you feel you need to do, being inspired. Um, as far as staying inspired, I can't tell you how to stay inspired for each individual thing. I can only tell you how I um, keep myself inspired, and how I go about trying to maintain inspiration as far as continuing the career path that I want to be on. What I do, if I have a song idea, or if I have a riff idea, I'll pull my phone out if I have memory left on my phone, which is I constantly run into this issue. Is like I'll come up with so many song ideas and like riff sounds that when I sing them into my phone, because I have an iPhone, so it's got the little handy recording app already on it. Um, so when I sing a riff idea into it, I have so many of them on there that I lose track of them sometimes, and I'll like be going through them and what did I do? I don't even know when I did this. like, and the same thing goes for like if I'm trying to write lyrics. When I can't sit down and just think of song lyrics. I throughout walking throughout life, or just through my day, I'll be inspired to like think of like lines of, I guess you could consider it poetry, um, and just jot them down, make sure that that thought is retained on a physical, because, ideas can be forgotten, ink can't, the ink is permanent, well, unless you, like, burn it, or, fucking throw your journal in a fire or something. Anyway, and yes, I keep a journal. All good songwriters should have a journal. If you write songs, again, I'm not saying, like, I don't mean this to just be speaking to musicians or songwriters, but being as that's what I am, that's really the only thing I can relate it to. So, if you're a songwriter and you don't have, you write lyrics for your songs as well, and you don't have a journal to jot your stuff down, that is a mistake. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and diss you for not doing it, but you should do that. It's so relieving when you don't have to, like, sit there and remember something, or just constantly remember it until you can get home and work it into the song. You can just write it down and work it in later when you have the chance. And again, with, like, practicing and everything, I live in Nashville, and whether you have personal opinions about where you're from, we're called Music City. We have the best musicians in the world here. Period. If great musicians live everywhere, but the most musicians per capita, like, door to door, you go and ask how long they've been playing. Is generally, if they play music and they live in Nashville, they've been playing their whole fucking life, and they are some of the best players that you'll ever see. And it's usually because they'll sit there all day, every day, and just run songs and play until they literally bleed. I used to be like that. I used to have to do my scales. I have to do my scales every day. Unfortunately, medical proceedings aside, I have arthritis, which is, it's common. It's not as common for younger people, but it is still a common happening, especially if you have um, pre-existing conditions that can lead to arthritis. So I have to sit down for at least a good half an hour and play, just noodle. What I do now is I'll play scale runs that I know for a fact I can do, and just run through them, do leads, play over blues tracks or jazz or something, and just get my hand warm before I sit down and start trying to write. And again, this is a talk about inspiration, so that's part of it. Running through scales, I come up with a lot of riff ideas. Like, yeah, I'll think of, like, a hum a tune into my phone, but that is just like a small fraction of how I write. Like, when I'm sitting down with my guitar, I will literally come up with like 20 different riffs that I personally enjoy. Well, of course I do, because I wrote them, or came up with them rather. But the best riffs that I come up with are that way. The offhand one-off aside, that is it. Anyway, staying inspired. You need to, if you're trying to stay inspired to do something, don't let other people tell you that what you're doing is unimportant. Don't let other people tell you that what you're doing doesn't help anyone, because that's wrong. That is so wrong. If someone is telling you that what you're doing, what you are inspired to do, what you crave to do with your life is not helping anyone, you go around and you tell them one thing. And I know I'm usually not as direct as this, but you tell them it is helping someone. It's helping me. It's helping me become a better person. It's helping me become the person that I want to be. And if they don't understand that, then whatever. Let them not understand, because I have been in that situation. I have had pissing, screaming, bludgeoning fights with people who shall remain nameless But they did play a I will say they played a very integral role in my life, about who I am and who I want to strive to be. And they didn't understand that. They didn't want me to be that. They wanted me to be something else. They wanted me to be what in their eyes would be more successful, which really just amounted to making more money. And a very wise person once said, money won't make you happy. If you know, if money is all that you want, then yeah, money will make you happy, but you'll still be missing something. But if money is not what you want, and you just strive to make as much money as possible, even if you do that, if you become a billionaire or something, you still won't be happy because you won't be doing what you in your heart and your mind know that you should be doing or that you want to be doing. What would bring you the most gratification to be doing. Again, I'm sorry, I'm congested and I sound sick, but I just had to get on it and make this video. And usually my videos are this long. This is I guess a shorter one by comparison. But yeah, if if you are inspired to do something with your life, do it. Don't let anyone get in the way of who you want to be. Now, just being a dickhead and everything, like, don't be an asshole about it. Just know that you want to do something, and know that you are striving to do it. Know that you won't let anything come between you and who you want to be, who you are, and who you want to be. All right, baby. Well, I have to go and tend to my daughter because my wife's out getting ice and diapers, I think. Anyway, um, peace out. I'm missing Crowbar and High on Fire tonight with Yautja as well. If you haven't heard of Yautja, the way that you spell it is Yautja, I believe. Look them up. They're fucking amazing. I've known their drummer, Tyler Coburn, since high school, and their guitar player, Shabby Pool. He's pretty fucking cool. He's a cool guy. I exchange recording notes with him, ask him about tones and stuff all the time. Amazing band. But yeah, I could be doing that, but I'm at home with my daughter. So, priorities. Anyway, toodles. Stay inspired, because it's one of the hardest things you could ever do in life is staying inspired.